There's so many yum.
Thank you so much. Do you hear me? Sorry. Welcome everyone to our best year ever practicals part 1. This will be a short one and you would need to start with piece of paper, not this one, like a blank piece of paper would be great if you have a journal or a Bible diary. You're going to write down right now what your opinion is about this. You react to it. They say being rich does not buy happiness. And I say neither does being poor. So let me suffer with a new car. You can put in some words like they say being middle class does not buy happiness, or I say neither does being middle class. So let me suffer with a new car. So I want you guys to spend 5 minutes. Can you type the word 5 minutes to write down your response to this? And if you're here expecting me to dump information to you, and then I don't want to write anything, then you start writing the words I don't want to write anything. I'm not kidding you. Okay, I've been doing this for 15 years. I know some of you will not write anything. But it's very important to get your reaction to this one. They say being rich does not buy happiness. I say neither does being poor. So let me suffer with a new house, a new car, a new wife, a new cell phone. Ready? Go. 5 minutes. Still here. Write down. When you're finished writing, you can say, done. Yan. Done na ako mag-write. Yan. Put it in the chat. writing down your, yeah, opinions, okay, about this thing. Oh, yeah, it's this thing. Okay, now we know what to do. All right. Sa tingin ko okay na yun, ano? So, whatever your opinion about this, I encourage you guys to write down some of the stuff you wrote on the paper in the chat room. That, and we can get started. Okay? Would be great if some of you can write down tingin ninyo dyan, opinion nyo dyan. Okay? You have 30 seconds before we move on. Ah, that's good na. Pwede na yan. 9 seconds to go na eh. So, I'm gonna go and continue now. So welcome. Let's get started. So imagine you are a K-drama character, all right? Tapos you're a chaebol, meaning to say you're the adult son of a Korean businesswoman. Tycoon, super rich. The government is paying for whatever it is that you're doing because that's the setup in Korea, the chaebol. Have you heard of this concept? Sana naman, ano? So you're in a 6-star penthouse restaurant. Tapos they served you the rarest steak in the country and you feel great and you're about to dive in. You're gonna start eating this delicious food. And then you get a call from your mom on your platinum encrusted cell phone, no? And it's not a Nokia, it's not an iPhone, it's way better. And your wife, si Sonia Jing, example, she used to be an ex-actress. Sabi ng mom mo, she just ran away with Hyung Bin, who is another actor, very popular. In fact, it's confirmed by your sister and the mom. And yes, they said if you go to on TV or on YouTube, it's the buzz for the moment. If people are talking about it, so confirm your wife, Sonia Jing, yeah, Sonia Jing, has now left you. Okay, so you don't feel any good anymore at this point. Yes, now you're suffering all of a sudden in front of that steak. So what will that rare steak taste like for you? Now fast forward 4 weeks, no? You are in Turkey and this is a pleasure trip with mom. Oh, sorry, without mom. Without mom. You're in a hot air balloon above the historic house caves in Turkey, very famous. So who are you thinking about at this point? This is 4 weeks after Sonia Jing just ran away with Hung Bin. So your wife is gone. So how do you feel at this point? You're a chaebol, very, very rich. You're in another part of the world. How do you feel? Let's move forward. You are now in a barco, a ship. No? And this ship, you're a poor Filipino seafarer working on an oil tanker in the middle of the Atlantic. Okay, very specific. And you go home in 2 weeks. Because you're happy and you're looking forward to seeing your wife and one kid, because today, who has more than one kid, right? So you get a message from your cousin, and that they say your wife is pregnant and you are not the dad. How do you know that you are not the dad? Because you haven't been home for 2 years. Hey, okay. Now, you don't believe them, of course. This is just your cousin, but you get another message, a video now from your parents, and yeah, it's confirmed. Um, your wife is pregnant, and the neighbor teenager is the one responsible for it. Okay, so you shout, but obviously, in a ship, the waves noise will drown you out, especially during storms. You keep shouting day and night, random days and night. Your companions, the other crew members, including the Norwegians, they pity you, right? But they cannot do anything. Okay? Neither can you until you dock into the nearest port in the next 2 weeks, wherein you can fly home as scheduled. So you're suffering in a big way until then, right? Now tell me, is there a difference between the Chebol, the rich guy, the Korean, and the seafarer? Is there a difference at this point in the story? So here we go again with a piece of paper. Write down your answer. What is the difference between these two? And if you cannot find anything to say, just write down, I don't want to say anything. I have no opinions. You just go ahead and deny deny the fact that you should have an opinion. What do you think? You have 1 minute. Go for it. Just 1 minute. I will give you a timer. Here's the timer. What is your opinion of this thing? That's the number of seconds left. All right, time's up. You can share if you want to share. Oh, I haven't checked the YouTube. Wait lang. Let's check if anybody's in YouTube talking. Nobody's talking in YouTube. Oh, yeah, somebody's in YouTube. It's Jeff. Wait a minute. Hindi ko nakita yung chat ni Jeff. Sandali ah. Yeah. The chat is not being displayed properly. Why is that? Where's the chat? Chat. Live chat, open panel. There you go. Okay lang. Hi, Jeff. In chat, in YouTube chat. Okay. There you go. Let's proceed with this one. Where is it? Okay, there it is. So, the best-selling books of today, they totally hate suffering. They teach that you've got to avoid pain, at least to control pain. and you gotta do you. You have to leave other people's messes. You gotta go for your own mental health. This is up to the world of the kids. They're doing this, and they're also saying, and everybody will agree, no, your joy is the most important thing. It's in a kid's book we saw in Shopee, which actually, no, why is this a surprise? It's because it shouldn't be a surprise. With all of life comes pain and suffering. I shouldn't be telling you this, yes? But just for fun, let's answer the question, who has not suffered? Has anybody suffered? Because it's 2026, I asked Grok, which is the AI of Twitter. One simple sentence, how many people have not suffered a tiny bit in life? Zero. Literally, no one escapes life without at least a tiny bit of suffering. But you have best-selling books talking about getting rid of suffering. Interesting, yeah? Now, Google AI, it is widely considered to be universally accepted that zero people have ever lived a complete life without experiencing any form of suffering, no matter how small. Gemini 3 Pro, as of now, one of the best AIs you can use. It is widely accepted that no one has ever gone through life without experiencing some sort of tiny bit of suffering or adversity. ChatGPT, which, what happened to me? There it is. ChatGPT is none. Every person has suffered at least a little bit in life, said ChatGPT. And yeah, that's ChatGPT 5. Okay. Everybody has suffered. Um, there are always situations why you would suffer. Like, look at this chart, which nobody understands. When a Filipino graduates this year, the unemployment rate is at least 35%. That is what the chart is. This is from government data, therefore it's underreported. Now, what is that line over there? That's 2005. For the last 20 years, the unemployment rate in the country has gone from 20% to 35%. So how many graduates minimum are suffering after graduation? 35% minimum. And the only thing they did was to graduate. Nothing special, right? Nothing special. Okay. So it's kind of strange because people always suffered. Now, this section that I will show you is a video. Tell me if you can hear it, but you can just say this out loud. Alam ko na to eh. But why are people not accepting it? Okay, let me see if you can hear the video. Let me know if you can hear right now.
Hey, there's so many yummy vegetarian options.
It would mean you've bought your way
Ay,
out of
walang sound.
failure. Well,
Yeah,
you'd
I
be
don't hear it
wrong.
as well. Do you hear
Look
it?
at Jeff Bezos. On top of a very public divorce, he had to own a $170 million flop, the Amazon Fire phone. That's a kind of failure most of us can't even comprehend. Or Elon Musk, who came this close to
Can you hear
total
the sound?
bankruptcy with both Tesla and SpaceX at the same time. He called it the most painful year of his career. But wait, this isn't just about the titans of tech.
Let's
The
see if
exact
you
same
can hear it.
pattern shows up with our biggest cultural icons, where the pressure is, you could argue, even more intense. Before she became, well, at the same
Oprah.
time,
Oprah
he called
Winfrey
it
had
the
to
most
survive a
painful year
childhood
his
of just
career.
crushing
But wait,
poverty
this
and
isn't just about
devastating
the
abuse.
titans of tech.
Her success
The
wasn't
exact
just
same
built on
pattern
talent.
shows up with our
It was
biggest
forged
cultural
in pure
icons, where the
survival.
pressure is, you could
Think
argue,
about
even more
J.K.
intense.
Rowling.
Before
A
she
single
became,
mom,
well,
barely
at
getting
the
by,
same time,
hearing no
Oprah
when
Winfrey
one
had to
publisher
survive a
painful year
childhood
his
of just
career.
crushing
Her struggle
poverty.
wasn't
This isn't
just
just about
devastating
the
her
titans
hurdle.
of tech.
It
Her
was a
success
daily
wasn't
grind
just
from
built on
poverty
talent.
to star.
With our
It was
biggest
forged
cultural
about Taylor
icons, where the
survival.
pressure
She's
is-
navigated years of public betrayals and these really intense media wars. What? These weren't just bad press. They were public battles fought over her character. Then you see someone like Nelson Mandela, and the scale of suffering becomes historic. His struggle wasn't for a company or a book. It was 27 years in prison for the cause of freedom itself. So what's the thread that ties all of these people together, from billionaires to media moguls to world leaders? It's this. A life entirely free of suffering is not part of the human condition, regardless of fame or status. That's the key right there. It applies to every name we just mentioned, and it applies to every single one of us.
So let's go back to that first question. Can you really reach the absolute pinnacle of success without suffering a single major setback? The answer is
impossible. High achievement doesn't get you a pass from suffering. It's forged by it. The struggle isn't some detour you take on the road to success. The struggle is the road.
Okay, the video shows you some of examples of really successful people that everybody sorta, not me, admires, and then they all went through so many things: poverty, public backlash, personal loss, loss of somebody you love, violent attack, you know, so many things. These are just the US, the foreigners, no? If you go to a list of the Filipinos, it's Henry C., Socorro Ramos, Lucio Tan, Manny B. Pangilinan, Corazon Aquino, Robino Gokongwei, every one of them bought through so many hard stuff, a lot of suffering. That's why this obsession with mental health, and you're going to break down if you don't achieve mental health, when everybody you say you've ever admired has always suffered, and not just a little bit, a lot, publicly, privately, secretly, and well known because they talk about your suffering in showbiz. So I think we've established it already. Suffering is permanent, and it's time for us to redeem suffering. So how do you do that? Let's just find out what the saints did, right? Because surprise, the saints know, okay, know this, okay? But the suffering that everybody knows, no, it's not the kind of suffering we're going to talk about today because nobody has really studied this. It's called suffer well. And let's go deep into the practicals because the title of this event is Best Year Ever Practicals. Why is best year ever same as suffer well? Because you can't avoid suffering, right? So what you can do is apply the Catholic principles of suffering well, because that will help you not just rise above suffering, but use it into something better. Convert the suffering into something better. We're gonna use the words of the saints right now, so you don't have to listen to me. Okay, so here are 10 saints who showed how to suffer well. All we have to do is to copy what they do. You guys ready? The only person answering is Jeff. Jeff, you ready? Dennis, ready? Hi. Thank you for answering. So, I'm gonna give you what they do, and I'm also gonna give you some practical stuff. Okay, before we go to the saints, let me give you something practical from this book, the prayer book. I normally give this away. I'm selling it right now. You still can't buy it, but I'm gonna show you how I use this book. Now, later, I'll show you how I use this book, because with suffer well comes this concept of grace. Type it in, grace. You're gonna have to love this concept of grace because you are not able to do anything without it. Got it? Without grace. You're able to earn so much because of grace. You're able to walk because of grace. Your parents did not kill you, abortion. You know, that is very real to some people. Just not going to tell you who, right? Thank you, Jafrel. That their parents wanted to kill them. That's very true. And think about it. You're that person, and you find out your parents wanted to kill you when you were a baby, but you're not dead. So what is that called? That's called grace. Grace in Tagalog would be gift from God. Okay, so let's go find out what the saints did. Okay, here we go. Okay, Saint Francis of Assisi, he got out of bed in pain. He knelt, he kissed the floor, and he prayed, Lord, thanks for these sufferings. Send me more if you want. You remember that piece of paper? Start writing down your response to this Saint Francis of Assisi character. Saint Francis, why are you like that? By the way, this is all verified stuff. I didn't get it from the internet. I did not Google this. Okay? This is go. React to what. Can you do this? Right now, I'm sure you're suffering. Everybody is. Can you say, kneel, kiss the floor, literally? So, clean floors. And say, Lord, thanks for these sufferings. Send me more if you want. 1 minute. Respond to this. Write down how you feel about this. This is crazy, right? Go for it. Thank you so much for that. Why is Saint Francis asking God to send him more? Silly concept. It's called if you Jesus said, "Come and follow me, carry your cross." Don't have to quote the Bible. It's there. Almost every Catholic and Christian knows you have to carry your own cross. This is his cross. And my personal prayer sometimes is, thank you, Lord, for giving me these shallow crosses. Because believe you me, my crosses are pretty shallow nowadays. I can't sleep. This thing, for some people, that's torture. Uh, I know that's a easy cross, compared to being tortured, literally, right? so, so send me more if you want is very bold. That's because he's pretty strong, pretty strong Catholic. Concept behind this is if we're gonna carry our crosses, we're gonna copy Jesus, then he suffered from the very birth. Remember Christmas? Remember all that let's kill the babies kind of thing? Christmas, remember that? That was his suffering before he was even born. And after showing up the temple, he got lost for 3 days, and then 3 years of suffering until he dies eventually. So we're gonna copy Jesus, we're gonna copy him. We will have to learn how to do suffering this way, which is what? You thank God for the suffering, and then you ask him to send you more if you want. Now, is this you punishing yourself? Is this you trying to wreck your what they call mental health? Is it? We'll answer that later. Let's look for the next saint. Saint Teresa of Avila, she prayed 50 times a day. 50 times. Okay, wow. 50 times a day. My God, do with me and all I have what pleases you best. It's a very short prayer. My God, do with me and all I have what pleases you best. Now you're getting an idea. Why would St. Francis ask for more suffering? And St. Teresa of Avila would say, I want to please you. Whatever I have here, you use it to please, whatever pleases you best. Okay. You have 50 seconds. And write down your answer. Why would she do this? Do with me and all I have what pleases you best. And she didn't pray it once. This is a hint to you guys, huh? 50 times a day. What do saints do every day? React to this on your piece of paper. Hi, Zane. React to this on your piece of paper. I give 1 minute for each one. Okay? So, nasa second pa lang tayo. And then, tapos na. Okay, we're finished with reacting to that. Some notes on this. The goal of the Christian, the Catholic, is to please God. I don't know what you know, but that's what we're supposed to do. And we want to please God because He is our happiness. Can you write that down? Lalo yung mga nasa YouTube now. Write it down. I want to please God. Because that's the goal of the Christian, by the way. Your goal is not to get saved. Because after you get saved, you can't just, oh, I'm just gonna commit murder and rape, which is what Martin Luther said, apparently. No, no. After you get saved, you also known as baptism. For Catholics, salvation is equal to baptism. You're supposed to please God. And Saint Teresa of Avila ask God 50 times a day, do with me and all I have what pleases you best. I prayed this only like twice a day, and it's addressed to Mary. Okay, me personally. Saint Teresa of Avila, direct to God. All right. Now I'm gonna read a note from Loy. When I learned thank you, Loy, for the notes. When I learned that suffering is already given in life, and what we need to do is to learn how to suffer well, then hindi na ako nagtataka at nagtatanong why I need to experience suffering. Yeah, correct. Given na kasi siya. I embrace it and ask God's grace, ask Mama Mary's guidance too. I learned not to ask why me, which is really a wasted question. Hingi na lang ako ng grace, guidance, and direction. Ayan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Loy, for that. So our response ni Loy is to ask for grace, correct? To ask for guidance, correct? And ask for direction, correct? Okay. Now, this is a higher one because Saint Teresa of Avila is essentially surrendering her life and everything around her para ma-please si God. So, Jomar, isn't this like unrealistic? No, no. When you have to reach the Mount Everest, you don't go halfway. You try to look for the peak and try to go to the peak. That's how it works. All right. You can't go to the peak on the first day, but that's your goal. So, using saints proven canonized saints as our goal is a good goal to have. You can go higher if you want. Okay, let's move on. Saint Catherine of Siena, she told sick people, so anybody of you sick, pray to Jesus' blood on the cross for your strength and healing. So grabe, she's not saying pray to Jesus. No, not really. Take a cross. There should be blood on it, right? I mean, generally speaking, all crucifixion crosses of blood. So that's why the Catholic cross has Jesus there, and it's not a blank silver cross that's smooth and shiny. It's dirty. There's a dead man on it. That's Jesus. You pray to the Jesus blood, which is, if you read your Bible well, that is the one that saves you, the blood. Okay, that heals you. And then you tell Jesus' blood, ask it for strength and healing. This is what Catherine of Siena did. So she's telling you exactly what to do. So there is no such thing, I think, as a Catholic devotion for Jesus' blood. But I think all Christians understand the power of that, Jesus' blood. Okay? Nothing more to be said. Let's move on to this one. Saint Teresa of Lisieux. She has sicknesses and pains, and she offers it to Jesus like gifts, staying close to him. What is that? So, meron kang sakit. You're feeling some pain, and instead of complaining, you wrap it and offer it to Jesus like a gift. Question. What do you think? Is she nuts? Is she insane? Write down your answer. You have a minute. Is Saint Therese crazy? Why would Jesus accept her sickness pains? Go. Answer the question. Is she crazy? If she's not crazy, why is she not crazy? For packaging her sins, no, to Jesus. Why is she not crazy? Ay, na ano ko yung timer. Ha, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So that's 30 seconds na lang. Okay. Next, St. John of the Cross. Grabe, powerhouse. St. John of the Cross is, I haven't even read his stuff, but I know his powerhouse. All right, what does he say? In dry times with no joy, he sat quiet and kept a loving look at God. This is such a great piece of advice. How many of you have spent 30 minutes, 15 minutes saying nothing during prayer? Let me repeat that. I said it's practicals, right? So this is practical for you. Have you heard of a Eucharistic adoration room? That was the Catholic Church has set this room aside for you to sit. It's air conditioned. It's quiet. There's the thing there that has the host. No, that's Jesus. From a Catholic POV, Jesus is there in the adoration room. You sit there literally, and then you say nothing. Just look at the host. Look around. Fine. Say nothing in your mind, say nothing in your mouth. Do not blank your brain, which is a Buddhist thing to do. If you blank your brain, you are just inviting evil spirits to come in. Don't do that. Like, empty your mind. You don't do that. You don't empty your mind. You just look for a focus, and usually the focal point is the host, the ostia, in a adoration room. If there is no adoration room in your church, you go to a church and then you stare at the cross. Now, the great thing about Catholic churches is everywhere you look, it reminds you of the gospel story. Okay? So pick a focal point, usually the cross, maybe a statue of Mary, statue of Jesus, statue of some suffering saint, and then 15 to 30 minutes, have be quiet. Be quiet like John of the Cross. And if you can, do a loving look at God. Look at God lovingly for what he's done. Now, nothing will happen. But if you are given grace, something will happen. And you will know it, which is going to be undeniable. Something will happen to you because you'll be telling people, why did that happen to me? It's incredible. You know? That's how it works. I said, this is practical. Sit there, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Hopefully, you're not giving an excuse of, I'm going to bring my prayers in my phone and pray while looking at my phone inside the adoration room or in church. Don't do that. If you want to bring a prayer book, not on your phone, because it looks like you're addicted if you're inside. Besides, this will just get you distracted. When there's a ping, you'll be tempted to answer it. When the alarm goes off, you're tempted to answer it. Bring a prayer book in your adoration or your time with God. Jomar, I don't have a church nearby. Fine, go access a garden. Have you heard of these things? Yeah, look for a garden. If you cannot find a garden, look for a place where you can look at the sky. Why the sky? Because it's made of nature. It's not man-made. So just look at the sky if they have no access to gardens or adoration rooms. No, you look at the clouds. If the clouds are there and they're for free, look at them and then you stare at the clouds. Obviously, you can bring this and a crucifix with you, yeah. And then you can just spend 15 minutes saying nothing. Now, Jomar, what's this for? Oh, this is for you to pray something because your brain might not survive the saying nothing part. And with that, let me just go to the first part here, page 230. Hey, Sir Ephraim, and anybody else who has this book, when you start in the morning, just like me, you go to the prayer book, you go to page 230. It's the worker's prayer to Saint Joseph. Pray that because you're going to work anyway. Yes? I said your practicals, right? Then after you do the worker's prayer, you pray the prayer before a day's work. There it is. And what's the goal? This is not a simple prayer. Okay, it's seriously Catholic, and the hope is you will learn to memorize it, then teach it to your children, then teach it to your friends from memory because it's super good. I'm gonna read a quote from you guys, which you never hear from any prayer, even extemporaneous prayer, a style that I'm so good at before, but I've never done this before. I will read to you this prayer section only. It says here, before my eyes, the hour of death. This is the Saint Joseph prayer for workers. And before my eyes, the hour of death and the accounting, which I must render of time ill spent, of talents ill employed, of good undone and of my empty pride in success, which is so fatal to the work of God. What does that mean? Ask God for the grace to understand what that means. Because there are many, many instances you see the words, the meaning is not locked, is not unlocked for you. Just keep praying it and the meaning will be unlocked. Let's keep moving. St. Paul, I rejoice in my sufferings for you. I fill up Christ's pains for the church. This is a paraphrase from 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians, sorry. And tons of non-Catholic Christians, they totally ignore this first because they don't like what it means. Here's from my Protestant upbringing, because I was brought up like Protestant by myself, of course, my own fault. Here's how it works. They said that the suffering of Christ is final and complete. Therefore, nobody else needs to suffer anymore. Yes or no? Answer me, please. The suffering of Christ is final and complete. Therefore, zero human beings must suffer for salvation. What do you guys think? Total zero number of people must suffer because Christ's suffering is there. If you're a Christian, you accept Jesus as your savior, then you don't have to suffer because Christ has taken on everything, including all the suffering for you. What is your reaction? True or false? What I just said. Amen ba? Amen? Nobody needs to suffer anymore. Sorry for laughing. I just told you, life equals suffering. That's not true. Because St. Paul actually said, I rejoice in my sufferings for you. I fill up Christ's pains for the church. What this it means that Christ's pain is kulang? Yes. You know what's kulang? This is from the Bible, by the way, okay, in Corinthians. What is kulang from Christ's pains for the church is my pain for the church. This is why St. Maximilian Kolbe and St. Francis of Assisi, they both offer their sufferings for the church. They both offer their sufferings for the people who tries to kill them. Like in the story of Maximilian Kolbe, he's in a concentration camp. It's World War II. He is put in a small cell, naked, and there's like 12 of them, and they are not going to be fed. And everyone dies except him. Okay? And while they're there, naked and dark and cramped like sardines, he was listening to their confessions. He was encouraging them. They all know they're gonna die in a few days. And he was offering the suffering that he was feeling. This is World War II, okay? Starvation. For the saving of the Germans, was doing the suffering to them. That was what Saint Maximilian Kolbe was doing. By the way, Maximilian Kolbe is one of those famous saints who once went to Metro Manila and he said mass here in the Abbey of Montserrat, here in Menjola. Okay, actually went there and there's a plaque of him. Saint Maximilian Kolbe said mass here in this place. So this is around before World War II. So nagpunta na si Maximilian Kolbe dito sa Pilipinas. So one of the rare things you can find in Metro Manila, no? A place where the saint walked. So we went there already about 3 times now. So very inspiring to be in the same room where that saint, what I'm talking to you about, is praying for the person who's trying to kill him. Bakit ganun? Kasi member ka rin kasi sila dapat ng church, yung mga Germans. No? So if anybody is causing you suffering, yung suffering na binibigay nila, get this, i-wrap mo like a gift, bibigay mo kay Jesus, and in many cases, ibibigay mo kay Mary because Mary likes receiving gifts from her children. And sabi mo, I offer this to you para ma-save siya. So, ibalik mo sa kanya yung suffering na binibigay niya sa'yo. para ma-save siya. Hindi naman niya alam yun na masasave siya dahil sa binibigay niya suffering sa'yo. Now, if it's an illness, it's the same thing. Kasi the illness is not a person, right? So, ibibigay mo yung illness, irarap mo siya in a small gift, kahit galang mo lang, o kahit isang kamay, o kahit sa mind mo lang, and you offer that to Jesus, or the smart ones the smart Catholics would offer it to Mary first. Okay? And Mary will offer it to Jesus. That's how it works, by the way, in royal families. Magbasa kayo ng royalty para intindihan nyo na the way to the king na may nanay pa na buhay is to talk to the queen first, the mother first. Then you can talk to them both later. Pero meron ka ng tinatawag na advocate, royal family advocate. When you start talking to the king, who's the anak of the nanay, the mother will bring you to the king so you can talk. And in fact, the mother of the king will tell you to be quiet, I'll talk on your behalf. That's what's going to happen in royal families. So, ganun ang dynamic when you bring your suffering to Mary, she brings it to Jesus. And they do great things with suffering. Okay? Because yung suffering na yun yung obedience mo to the command of carry your cross. Come after me. Sell all your belongings. Carry your cross. Yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Hindi siya literal na sell all your belongings. In some cases, it's literal. In many cases, it's not. Sell your belongings means, eto yung suffering mo, embrace it. Pag mo i-hoard, ibigay mo kay Maria. Okay? Or if you like St. Francis, humingi ka pa ng more. Okay? Para ibabalik mo rin naman kay Jesus. I-offer mo, here, look, I copied you. I'm suffering. But I'm offering my suffering for you. For the church, for those who are causing me this pain, I'm offering it back. Ganon. Okay, next! Saint Bernard. Prayed anyway during no feeling. Nagbabasa siya ng Bible, usually nagkakos sa kanya ng joy, pero wala siyang maramdaman. And this is called, everybody type the word desolation. Now, this is normally what happens sa mas mature na Catholics and Christians when you pray and you feel nothing. Okay ba yan? How many of you, when you pray, you feel zero and you feel like you've been abandoned by God? Nobody's answering. Thus, there's a lot of Catholics and even Christians, no? They would say, God gave me a sign, God gave me a sign. Ang tawag doon ay consolation. When God gives you a sign, usually you are pretty new. Bago ka pa lang. Bago ka pa lang na Christian, God is guiding you to get closer to Him. So, bibigyan ka niya ng mga signs and wonders and miracles. Pero yung mga mas mature, bibigyan niya ng nothing. Okay ba yan? Kasi that's suffering. Yeah, that's suffering. It causes you to be like Christ as well. All right? So, that's Saint Bernard. And Saint Andrew, siya yung usong X-cross. Alam mo, the first X-man ever. So, na-crucify siya naka-X. And people don't really depict it correctly. He's crucified upside down na naka-X. Si Saint Peter was crucified like this, pero upside down, cross. So hindi satanic yung upside down cross, that's Saint Peter's cross. Eh, tapos pag ginawa mo upside down na X, ganun, X man talaga siya. He said, on his cross, he said words praising Jesus' cross and told others to love the cross. Yan, si Saint Andrew, who also happens to be the first apostle. Okay. Jomar, apparently, we are, in this Catholic religion, we are so rich in suffering. Is there another religion that has no suffering? None. Because if you're a human being, you will have suffering. And according to the Catholic religion, if you leave, the earth, and you like kill yourself or something, or you die, there is probably more suffering for you. Usually. Kasi nga, the humble Catholic, the humble Christian will never say, I'm 100% sure of heaven. They never say that, the humble one. The proud ones will, no? But the humble ones will never say that. They will always say, I am the worst sinner of all. Ayan. So work towards that, no? To have the humility to say, I am the worst sinner of all. And really mean it. To the point na, Lord, talagang I'm such a bad sinner. Please help me to overcome this. even by suffering, help me overcome this. Ganyan yan. Okay, number 9. Saint James the Greater, kasi dalawa yung James sa apostles, no? He stayed strong under Herod's attack, taking pain for love of God. Dahil lang ha. Okay, for the first time, wala akong alam sa story ni Saint James. Moving on. Alphonsus Liguori. Oh, my favorite saint so far. Okay. When hurt came, said right away. Ito ang ganda na sinabi niya. By the way, Alphonsus is really, really good. Sabi niya, something you can copy again. Yes, Father, this is good in your sight. When somebody hurts you, when suffering comes to you, Lord, you can use this and say, yes, Father, this is good in your sight. Ganda, no? So it's more inspirational than Saint Francis of Assisi, who says, I offer the suffering, and if you want, give me more. Now, why would you want more? Because if you want more, then you want to be more like Jesus, who suffered the worst kind. No, if you want to suffer less, then you want to be less like Jesus. Gets? But ang ganda nito. This is wonderful for you to say, yes, Father, this is good in your sight. Very simple, right? All right. Let me just go back to this one. Since we're in topic of suffering, there is an entire chapter here of prayers for the sick. And I will shock you, hopefully. Thank you, Loy. When you read the prayers for the sick, and I sent this to someone whose father was dying. He's a very famous person. Of course, publicly, nobody knew his father was dying, since I know this person very well. Well, close, not close enough. We've known each other for a very long time. 20 years. Famous person, was famous 20 years ago, mas famous today. I suspect she's a billionaire, but I'm not sure. I'm not asking her. Anyway, father was about, well, I knew the father was about to die, so I took a picture of this. I wanted to send it to her, but anyway, I took a picture of the prayers for the sick. And I told her, pray this every day, bedside sa dad mo. And each prayer is so different from our prayers of today. And I want to show it to you. Okay, here it is, prayers for the sick. When you show these prayers to anyone, especially the young people who are sick, and they will be shocked to see that every prayer is expecting you, the sick person, to not get well. It's asking God, do your will. That's the prayer. It's not, please heal me, Lord, please, baawa ka sa akin. It's no. The prayers here is, Lord, I want to get well. But what is your will? Do it for me. Yeah. There's even a section here that is, prayer for the dying. Or I personally pray the next one, which is prayer for a happy death. I pray that. I pray this. Not every day, but more than once. Prayer for a happy death. As Catholics, we always pray for a happy death as part of the Hail Mary. I don't know if you noticed that. But wonderful part of the book, Prayers for the Sick, because now you know how you must treat old people who are sick. I know that. And the treatment is like this. I'll end with a summary of how sick people must see sickness if they're about, or they're so old, you know that they might die anytime soon. This is how it works. Really old people get sick to make them look at God, look at Mama Mary, ask God for help, ask God for mercy. This is why they get sick. Yes, their bodies, disappear and become bad. The body fail. But the purpose of the suffering of the old people is that they become desperate enough so that they will look for answers. And one of those answers would be God. And the sana, when you deal with somebody who's sick, who's your loved one, and you know this person is very old, this person might not get well because of the age, then it's time for you to open their eyes and say, who is Mary? They must answer, she's my mother. And if she's your mother, what does that mean? Um, they must learn to offer their suffering. So that's the topic, right? And they must learn to suffer well. Like I know the story, real true story of a old man who's suffering, so angry at God to the point I don't want the priest, I don't want confession. I'm just so angry at God at the end of his life. No, that is what you want to avoid for old people. You want them to see that this suffering is good. This is good in your sight. This suffering that I have, because it makes me like you. The technical term is it purifies my soul. So I become like you. So that is the big thing for Suffer Well today. Best year ever practicals, understanding suffering well, and some 10 pieces of advice from 10 Catholic saints. That's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Ephraim, Jaffrel, Loy, Rowan, Zane. I have Jeff and Dennis. You have friends, family, and human beings you know who are suffering. Send this to them. Okay. And we'll continue this on part 2, which I don't have a schedule yet. All right. So hanggang dyan pa lang. Yeah, I'm going to sell this. Not yet. I am not ready yet. I'm gonna sell this alongside other stuff, not just this alone, with a course. Okay. Um, watch out for that announcement. And around Wednesday, so it's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow I will be doing a live stream again around 8 o'clock as well, wherein you learn all about the AIR formula, which is the Facebook marketing thing that I was talking about last December. So the short of it is there is a semi-dead, no, abandoned Facebook account, which we were able to restore to life last year, around May to October, until they had a live event for this organization. The people did not know I was behind it. Okay, only one person knew I was behind how they grew that page, and I'm sharing to you what that person did in Air Formula, my latest course, this 2026. So go ahead and join Suzanne and Andrea. They already signed up for that, and some other people. And that's the practical step by step on how you should grow your Facebook. Primarily it's Facebook, but the concepts you can use for other social networks. What's different with this? It's a case study, because it wasn't me who was doing the action. It was one of my students who were doing the action, and it's live case study because they're still working on the Facebook account up to today. So the Air Formula will start this course sometime in January, around this week or next week. Okay, so make sure you join us for Air Formula. That is my plug. Okay, so how about details? Details you'll find on tomorrow, Wednesday nights, and probably on Friday night. So thank you so much for joining this part 1. If you found some value, please make sure you leave a comment in the YouTube version, because that will really help me. Subscribe kayo, or leave a comment so that YouTube says, hey, people like this show. Okay. And then if possible, can you forward it, look, to someone else, the YouTube link, which I put in the chat room, forward it to someone else, so that in social networks they can see this video, especially to people in hospitals, people suffering. Don't tell them what to do. Let me tell them, because they will believe me. I'm a total stranger. I didn't even introduce myself. Diba? God bless everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. And today, watch out for part 2. All right? Yes, Father, this is good in your sight. God bless. Thank you, Ephraim. Thank you, Zane.